Here with head volleyball coach from Southern Indiana, Jeff Aucoin. Coach, what do you look for your team this season?
Yeah, there's a lot of new in our gym. So we have seven fresh new faces joining our team this fall. We had one mid-year transfer, but in total we have seven new players a part of this program. So there's a lot of unknown. Some of these players came into the recruiting process a little bit later, so we're still getting to know them as people, as players on the court as well. So there's a lot of new, a lot of unknown, but that also makes it very exciting because you don't really know what's going to be happening. Um, but the players are hungry to get going, and they have that little bit of a chip on their shoulder where they know last year wasn't our best showing. But we did a lot of work this past off season, and it's already starting to come to fruition in just these first few days of the fall preseason.
So you had just mentioned that a lot of your members are new, uh, but even at this point, what do you like most about this team, and what are some of their strengths?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of excitement. So, our talent gap in each position group has got even closer, um, which makes it really hard on me, but very exciting in our gym day to day. So, our scrimmages right now are very competitive. Everybody's challenging each other. It's a very exciting time where all we have to do is just get to focus on volleyball every day. Classes hasn't started. The pressure from games and tournaments coming up hasn't started. So we're just doing a really good job getting to learn how we play next to each other, how to play with each other, and it's just getting excited to get to know each other a lot this fall preseason.
So you talk about a lot of the newcomers. How do you go about in a situation where, a lot of other sports that are in the winter or even in the spring, they have time to work with the first year student athletes and build them into that season. You get them right away coming off of a summer break, and you basically have a couple of weeks to say, okay, now you're ready for Division 1 at a competition. How do you go about kind of grooming them and building them and pacing them along to come in and make an impact for your team?
Yeah, I think that comes down to recruiting too. You want to make sure you're bringing the right people into the gym, and you're going to be getting student athletes that are ready to go on day one. They're not just taking the summer off and then expecting to, be a college student athlete on day one and up to speed. So it requires some patience, getting them integrated within our offensive and defensive system and just how we operate day to day with our standards within our program. But the upperclassmen do a great job of helping them out along the way. Because what we're trying to cultivate here is that very family atmosphere, and we're not leaving anybody out to dry. Every single person plays a big part of the success for this program. So it's really important helping them acclimate right from day one. And all through the fall, it's a hard transition for first years. And we have, five, six of them on the roster right now. So we want to make sure that we're doing a good job to alleviate any stress alone that comes with being a D1 college student athlete coming straight out of high school. So again, it's fun for them because they don't know what they don't know. And, for us, we don't know what we don't know because we're getting to work with them for the first time. But they've made great strides in just these first few days. They're getting up to speed really quickly. They're adjusting to the college game very quickly. They're very curious. They're willing to make mistakes. They're willing to ask questions. And they're just hungry to get better. And that's 1 through 16 on our roster, which makes it a very special group.
Coach, who are some of the key players that we should watch out for this season and that you hope to lead your squad?
I guess I was 1 for 1 last year. I said my player to watch was Bianca, and she ended up on the All OVC team. So I can't give too many details, but obviously she's a great returner on the court, a big leader for this program. Obviously, we get to return Ashby. Kira's a libero. So a handful of players that are returning to our program that were starters previously. But again, we had a lot of seniors last year that filled those different spots, and now we have freshmen and we have returners will be looking to fill those other slots. And again, that talent gap is so small that I have about 4 to 5 lineups that I could go with right now, and I trust all 4 to 5 of those lineups right now, which is exciting, but definitely nerve wracking and keeps you up at night. But obviously, those are a couple that the league already knows about. But with their leadership and the play that they bring on the court, obviously they do a lot for our program.
Well, taking a look at your schedule, you get the opportunity to open with a tournament at home, some solid competition. Then you bring Michigan State into your house, and before you guys head up and play a very challenging schedule up in Ann Arbor at Michigan's tournament, facing off against Florida Atlantic and Marshall, and you have a nice schedule, and you get to also pack it in with a an in town rivalry with a home and home with Evansville. But what are some of the things that you look at on building the schedule and the competitiveness, which will help you come into the OVC?
Yeah, we talked about it last year. Mary Weiss asked us to come down because she heard about USI, and now Michigan State wants to come to us. So, I guess people want us on their schedule. But, it's very exciting. Compared to the last 2 years, I think it was a little bit more lopsided, where we had some guaranteed, not guaranteed wins, but games that were much more winnable for us. We had our challenging matches, and some were even more challenging than others. But this year, I would say 90% of our non-conference games are teams that are even with us. So they're not teams that are way out of our league, and there's not, cupcake victories either. So every single match is going to be a tough one. Every single match is going to be competitive, but I think that's what's going to help us prepare us for our league. We're doing the preseason poll last week, and I didn't have a clear-cut number one or number two. I had a clear-cut 3 through 11 because I think we're all pretty even, which is what makes the OVC so special. And, that's why it comes down to the last weekend in my first 2 years here to figure out who's even going to be in the tournament. So our league is very challenging. It's a dogfight every year, and it's going to be no different this year.
Head coach Jeff Aucoin from Southern Indiana, we wish you the best of luck and thank you for sitting down and speaking with us today.
Appreciate your time. Looking forward to the fall.